happy Father's Day, first of all. I'm here with my father, with my grandfather, and with my son, who is very excited about tearing apart this tablecloth.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just had him a little bit ago. Look what he did. Holes right here.
I'm excited about this. It's gonna be pretty special to sit down. We got 4 generations of us, and 3 of which are preachers, and 1 of which I don't know yet. But it's pretty exciting. We wanted to just talk a little bit about fatherhood, and I wanted to just ask, what is and I guess we'll start with my grandpa. What was one of your favorite memories of being a father?
Of being a father.
When they all moved out.
I tried to think back, and I guess probably a highlight every year for us was General Assembly time, or every other year, when the family would go to wherever, whether it was San Antonio, St. Louis, Dallas, wherever. And we would always make a vacation out of it. Go through, if it was Dallas, we'd go to Six Flags. I remember going back one time, stopping at Dodge City, where they were doing shoot-up stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's always special memories to me to think back on. Those General Assembly trips with the family, probably.
Yeah. What you did?
Kicking off or taking up where he just left off, I remember the trip to Dallas, and we went to Six Flags. And I remember a particular memory of mine was we were going on I don't remember the name of the ride, but I remember over on the side, one of the cars, it was one of the big roller coasters, was covered up. And I don't remember if it was Dad or somebody else or whatever it was, but somebody made a comment that car over there is probably covered up because that's the one that people got killed on. I remember that, and it kind of shook us up a little bit. I remember the Dodge City one. I remember that. It was a lot of fun. I remember, I think it was Dallas. It was called Deerdorf Hotel, I think, or A Dorf Hotel, or something like that. Kind of a bigwig hotel that we got to stay in. I remember those times, and I remember that some of our main vacations was during the General Assembly. And I also remember this. I remember that one of the things that Dad made sure of is when we went on these vacations is that we stopped at a hotel or a motel that had a swimming pool. That may not be a big deal to any of you, but that was a big deal to me and Terry, that we got to stay somewhere where there was a swimming pool. So I remember those times. Those were fun times.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite memories of being a father?
Being a father.
It's not about me. It's okay.
I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm trying to think of a memory about you. Probably watching you and Caleb grow. I remember memories that wasn't too fun. I remember the traveling cross country, and I remember the fight that you and Caleb had, and finally I said that's enough, so I went and got boxing gloves, because right before that I remember you two looking at each other and him running over and busting you in the lip, and you started to bleed, and you were going to kill him. I remember that, so I went and got boxing gloves. One of the memories that I have, Joshua, we were in Illinois. Your mom was about to give birth with you. I remember being on the outside, because that was back in the days where they didn't invite the dads in. And I remember the horrifying information that we got that they were having a problem because the cord was around your neck, and all of a sudden people began to fly in and move quickly because they were wondering if you were going to make it.
Yeah.
And they had to do a quick cesarean, and they got you out, and I remember that memory.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great memories, and then to watch you grow, to watch Caleb grow, to watch sporting events, to to watch you become the man that you become, you know, from the beginning all the way up. So as far as a memory of my dad, you know, there's a lot of memories of my dad, but one of the things that I remember, I may have actually been talking about it this Sunday at Father's Day, but one of the memories that I've got is I used to play some baseball, and I would look to the sidelines and see my dad there, knowing that he was going to be preaching somewhere, had to go preach somewhere else, he was evangelizing, whatever it may be, and he waited until the last possible moment before he had to leave that ball field. That was pretty special to me. So those are times that I remember.
You know, I think about a couple of them. One of my memories that I think of is when I first got called to take a church, and asking you if I was ready, and the assurance that I got meant so much. I needed that. It was simple to say yes, you are, but it meant a lot. I also think back to, you talked about General Assembly, this last General Assembly, to be able to sit down with all three of us together on the floor was so special, and to be able to pray with my grandpa. And I think we ended up on TV doing that. It was very cool. With Asher here, you know, we're just getting started, and so you know, today is his 7-month birthday. So he's 7 months old today, and so we've got 7 months of events. I do know that we've had a lot of fun little firsts, but I remember the first time where, nobody believes me, but I don't care, where he looked at me and tried to say I love you, and I had been saying it to him over and over and over and over again, and then he stopped and he just ooh, you know, and he just stopped right after that. It was right after I'd been saying I love you to him over and over and over again. It was very special. I was watching videos today where I was kind of playing with his chin. It was his first laugh, and we actually got that recorded. And so it's been fun. We've had a lot of really special memories.
You know, one of the things that I think we have to at least address, especially being pastors, we have to address, as a matter of fact, nobody can speak to this any more than your grandfather, his great-grandfather, and my dad. That Father's Day for my son and I right now today is very special. I had a good dad, he had a good dad, Asher has a great father, but there are some of you today that you're not rejoicing as much today as we are, because you didn't have quite that experience. That's why I think it's so special that we do have God, because God is our Father. It doesn't hold, I know that it doesn't hold the same touch for some of you, and I know even for my own dad, that it doesn't hold the same thing as it does for Joshua and myself. And I know we didn't talk about this. This is the spur of the moment stuff, guys. But I don't know. I think maybe I want to put my dad on the spot to maybe speak to some of you that maybe you didn't have the greatest time growing up because maybe your father wasn't there. But you know, Dad, again, I know it's spur of the moment. We haven't even talked about this, but how do people deal with that? How, because you grew up in that type of atmosphere. What word do you give to somebody that maybe didn't grow up with a father like maybe Joshua has, or like I have? What is the encouragement that you give to people in a situation like that?
You know, I thought about some of this stuff this morning, knowing we were coming. And I'm not a hoarder, but I'm a keeper. So I've got a lot of stuff kept. And I went back this morning before we traveled up to Roseburg. Just picked up a couple, a bunch of them there, but I picked up a couple of past Father's Day cards from my boys. And I thought it's strange. Maybe not strange, I suppose not strange. But one said this: strength and wisdom and guidance are what make a man a father. But love is what makes him a dad. And then the other one from one and one from the other. There is no greater gift than a dad's love. You know, I knowing that we were coming up, knowing we were going to kind of talk about some stuff probably, I went back and picked up a letter addressing what Randy just said about my dad. This is a letter from my dad that he wrote me back in September of 1959. I think Dad left home, I know I was 13, so probably in 53 or 54. So I'm talking 5 years later now. Randy had just been born, and we came up through there and stopped and seen Dad. He'd been out of my life for a long time. We stopped and saw him. And later, after that visit, he wrote me this letter, and I pulled it out today. And not reading all of it. But here's a piece. He says, "Write to me, Bob. You know you were my first son, and I love you very much." He wrote a few more lines, and then he repeated, "I hope you're getting along fine, son. I want you to know I still love you." I think it had kind of faded from my memory, but when I read it and realized that though he had been disconnected, somewhere down inside of him there was still something that said, "I've been away, I walked away, but you have to know I love you." So I shall never forget that. And help me never forget that there's a lot of things that may have importance as a father, but nothing will be more important than the love that we show toward our family, our children, our loved ones.
I know we're way past our time frame, what we kind of figured, so wanted to wrap up this video, but I did want to share something that it's significant to me at least, and I've shared this before, but this bottle right here of Polo Cologne has a real special significance to me. This is the cologne my grandpa has worn for years and years. It's the cologne my dad wears, and I remember anytime before they would get up to preach, I would smell this cologne on them. And so when I began to preach, when I began to minister, I picked one up. And it's not a cheap cologne, and at the time it was a big expense for me, but it was important. And the reason was because of one word, and that word is legacy. And to me, when I get ready to preach on a Sunday, when I get ready to do a wedding or a funeral, when I get ready to minister in the same capacity that my father has done, that my grandfather has done, to me this is a way of putting that legacy on and continuing one more generation of what they have sown and continuing on what they have poured into me. And as we get ready in this Father's Day, to all of you fathers, know that what you pour into your children has a lasting effect that goes way beyond you. And I will continue to spray Polo Cologne on before I preach until I retire and probably beyond. And it'll be a way of always remembering where all of that came from and where I came from and the legacy that was passed on to me. And continue to pour into your kids. And for those that we talked about earlier that don't have those fathers like that don't have maybe your earthly father either in your life, or maybe it's not a good example, look to the people that God has sent you. God sends people along to fill that role. So we may not always have an earthly father around, but we have father figures. We have people that work in that capacity. And more than that, we have a heavenly Father that is a perfect Father. And He's always there. He's always watching. He's always listening. He's always loving. So thank you so much for watching this. We're going to go into our services now, into the sermons, but I hope that this has ministered to your heart. God bless you so much. Thank you, both of you,
Yes.
for joining me.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
John.
And
My
Asher,
pleasure.
we've got 4 generations here. Say goodbye. Bye.
God
God
bless you.
bless you.
God bless you, all of you.